Good evening, everyone. This is calling to order the regular May 1st, 2025 meeting of the LFUCG Ethics Commission. Glad to see everyone. The first item on our agenda is consideration of the request of Advisory Opinion 2025-001. This one has been marked as waiving confidentiality. It's a request by Mr. Chad Walker. We're trying to get Mr. Walker on the line now.
Hello?
Hi, Mr. Walker. This is Mackenzie Stock from the Council Clerk's office. Oh,
Hey,
thank you.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
We are here at the Ethics Commission meeting, so we're about to discuss your item, and I'm going to let Chair Singleton take it away for you.
Okay, thanks.
Good evening, Mr. Walker. How are you? Doing well. So we have your written request about inquiring about an ethics opinion with respect to your upcoming application about your short-term rental, and whether you personally or an attorney can present that to the Board of Adjustments. Is that correct?
Yes.
Again, we've got your write-up here. Do you have any additional information at this time that you'd like to share with us before we get into some questions from the commission about the request?
Not really. This is pretty much a straight deal. Of course, I know STRs are always can be contested and things like that, but I've done everything I possibly can with neighbors and things like that to clear the path. And as far as Board of Adjustments goes, I know that Chad Needham, who's a buddy of mine that was served on BOA, he had presented once before as well. So I hope it's not a big issue. I've clearly divulged all my financial interests and things like that over the years, and this is one that obviously I'm very well versed in and feel like that I would be able to present the best on it. Yeah, it's kind of a weird spot. I don't expect to be before Board of Adjustments again anytime soon. It's just one that just happened to overlap because of circumstances. So, yeah.
And we do note, as part of your request, you state that you would not, you would recuse yourself from voting on the case itself.
Yes, oh, absolutely. And I've recused several times before. I'm very cautious on that. I actually lean toward the side of, like, for example, even though it may not affect the kind of what the Board of Adjustments or even the Planning Commission says, but like anything with any case that's even remotely in proximity to something that I own or have had it, like I've been very kind of forthright in making sure that I don't even have the perception of any type of of conflict.
Understand and appreciate that.
Yes.
One question that I have: do you own the property individually in your own name, or do you have that through an LLC or other entity?
This property at 5167 Bry Hill Road is owned by me personally in my own name. This is our home residence.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do any of the commission members have any questions for Mr. Walker? Hearing or seeing none, I will entertain a motion from the commission to go into executive session to consider the request.
Okay. I move to go into closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101F and KRS 61.8101J, as discussion of AO 2025-001 may lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an employee, member, or officer, and contains the deliberations of a quasi-judicial body regarding individual adjudications.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion to go into executive session, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? We'll hereby go into executive session.
All right.
Yeah, you're ready. We're ready.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
There you go.
85922.
Well, that changes
Oh,
everything.
there you Hi, Mr. Walker.
Sorry about that.
That's
I didn't hear it ring, so
That's
I apologize.
okay. That's all right. We're out of, well, we're about to be out of closed session.
Well, we are out of closed session, or we'll move to come out of closed session.
Move to come out of closed session.
Do I have a second? Christine, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are now out of closed session. We've discussed the request in closed session. Do I have a motion to address this opinion?
So I move that the commission direct the law department to draft an opinion indicating that Mr. Walker would be free to represent himself before the Board of Adjustment in regards to his short-term rental, in accordance with an exception that is provided for in the Ethics Act.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor of this indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Walker, thank you for taking this time to present your request. As David mentioned, that we discussed this, and there is a specific exception in the Ethics Act to allow you to represent your own interest before the Board of Adjustment. I would share that I think it wise that you don't vote as,
Of course.
and that you recuse yourself as you have done so well before.
Yes.
But we very much thank you for your request.
Okay, well, I appreciate you guys accommodating me while I'm out of time, and hugely appreciate the service you provide for Lexington. So thank you so much.
Our pleasure, sir.
Okay, y'all have a good rest of the night. Thank you.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
That concludes our discussion of AO 2025-1. The next advisory opinion is that of Mr. Dale Morgan. Confidentiality has been waived. This is AO 2025-002. If we could get Mr. Morgan back in the room here. Yes, you can stand up at the podium if you wish. You can sit down if you wish, whichever is more comfortable. Very good, sir.
Hold on, here comes Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chris.
Mr. Morgan, thanks for being here to present this advisory opinion request. We have received it and read it. Do you have anything to add before we might have any questions for you?
Yes, well, as you know, when I was here last time, you guys approved me to do business with LFUCG and any of its affiliates. Since then, I've been working with Commerce Lexington for the past 3 years. My company is contracted with them to teach their Money Smart for small business. So Tara, who's my contact with Commerce Lexington, who runs that program, he reached out to me and said, because they get money from Lexington Fayette County government that actually pays me for that program, and he said that it was stated that I need to get an ethics opinion. So I then forwarded him the one that you guys had already approved, and he said they needed to specifically state that I could do business with Commerce Lexington.
Okay. At least the chair doesn't have any questions. Does anyone else?
So the arrangement with these other organizations would be exactly the same as the arrangement with LFUCG, right?
Yes.
I mean, in terms of you providing a service within LFUCG, it's the same service,
Yeah,
same sort
service.
of arrangement, same conditions.
Yes, sir.
In terms of these other organizations that are funded or supported by LFUCG.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I think the only issue was the fact that I'm a LFUCG employee.
Right.
Was kind of what got me here in the first place.
Understand and appreciate the identification of the issue.
Yeah.
Anyone else? I will entertain a motion to go into closed session so we may discuss this request.
And I would just add, like I said, I've been doing the work with Commerce Lexington for the past 3 years.
So I move to go into closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101 subsection 1F and KRS 61.8101J as discussion of AO 2025-002 may lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an employee, member, or officer, and contains the deliberations of a quasi-judicial body regarding individual adjudications.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of going into closed session and support the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We'll head into closed session.
I move we come out of closed session.
We got a motion and a second. All agree by signifying by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're back in regular session. Mr. Morgan, thank you for your patience.
Yes, sir.
We do have another question or two.
Okay.
Tracy?
So, Mr. Morgan, I have a question. As a part of your duties with your role with LFUCG, do you oversee determining the ROI of any programs like these, or do you have any say in managing the evaluation of kind of the grants that Commerce Lex could receive?
No, sir. No, sir. None at all.
Do you have a vote or are in meetings where those programs or how monies are distributed?
No, sir. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Apparently I have a motion. I move that the Ethics Commission ask the Law Department to draft are we doing a new or an updated opinion in regards to Mr. Morgan's request in reference to AO 2023-2 to allow for the inclusion of work as he requested with Commerce Lexington, and specifically that we include in that opinion that any work references or the opinion reference that all rules be followed, particularly and specifically the procurement requirements that include but not limited to those that require the acquisition of additional bids when the person doing the work is an LFUCG employee.
We have a motion on the floor and Christine seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Morgan, thank you.
Thank you for your time and consideration.
You're welcome, sir. Have a good evening. Next on our agenda is consideration of advisory opinion request 2025-003. Confidentiality on this one has been waived. It is submitted by Mr. James Ward. We are going to get Mr. Ward on the phone. It is our intent to get Mr. Ward on the phone.
Hi, Mr. Ward. This is Mackenzie Stock from the Council Clerk's Office. You're at the Ethics Commission meeting tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ward, thank you for joining us. I'm AJ Singleton, Chair of the Commission. We've got the Commission here and we have you on speakerphone. We have received your advisory opinion request and read it. Is there anything further you want to add before we ask questions of you about your request?
Nothing off the top of my head, sir, no.
Okay. A couple questions that I had. As part of your request and your involvement with the fire department, are you involved in any way in establishing the contract specifications for the services that you be providing through your company?
No, sir.
Okay, what about with respect to the awarding of the contract itself?
To the what other contract? Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
Sorry. Are you involved? Would you be involved in any way in the awarding of the contract to your company?
No, I would not.
And what about would you be involved in managing the contract's performance or seeing whether it was performed properly and up to the contract?
No, not. I wouldn't have a relation. No, sir.
Okay.
Who in the fire department, so I noted that you said you have no correlation with building maintenance and no direct line of leadership with them through your position at LFD. Who is responsible in your department for making the determinations about who gets hired for this kind of maintenance?
It's Captain Elam. So he works straight days, so we have no correlation. We could never be on the same. I work on second platoon. I work 24, 48 hours, and he works straight days. 4 days a week, I think 10-hour days, and we pretty much never see each other. We're not underneath the same rank. He's his own boss, and I'm on second platoon. and I have a battalion chief over me, and they have no correlation with each other, ma'am.
So you do not have him in your line of reporting duty. He's not your captain.
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
So just
Yes, ma'am.
a strange substantive question. What kind of tree work is done for the fire department for building maintenance?
So building maintenance has quite a few buildings that they're wanting to put up on some new properties. And there's some trees that are either in the way or that would be brushing the sides of these buildings that they're getting ready to put in place. And they would like for me to come in there and remove some of the trees for them or trim them up. Also, there's a couple stations that have lost tree limbs over the years through storms. There's some limbs down at Station 7 currently right now. And it's just been a question. They were curious if I was able to perform those tasks and if they could get a bid out for everybody else to get a bid on it. So I was told to put in for this advisory request form and see if I could help out any way possible.
Well, and that was going to be my next question about the bidding process. What do you know of what the bidding process will be for this work?
So I think he puts out I don't know what website or what platform he uses, but from what I've heard is he puts out on a platform requesting the work he's wanting done, and then other companies reach out and they give him a bid and he takes the cheapest bid.
Okay. Has that request gone live to your knowledge?
I do not know, to my knowledge. No, I do not. I know he had some other people already do tree work for him on the at Station 10 where he's wanting to put up new buildings. So that's already been done just because I was not in with the city yet. So he already had that taken care of. So he obviously is getting other bids other ways and getting the work done and taking the cheapest bid.
Thank you. Just real quick for clarification, who is the he?
Captain Elam, sorry.
Okay, and so it sounded like from what you just said that you and Captain Elam have already had a conversation about the work that needs to be done and the potential
he
project?
He just spoke to me about potentially doing a broad aspect of jobs for Lexington Fire Department, and he just pointed out one or two stations that needed stuff. I haven't looked at any of the jobs, given them any prices. I haven't done anything with that.
Do you anticipate the value of the contracts to be over $40,000?
40,000?
Yeah.
No, I do not.
So the captain that approached you about the possibility of you doing your service, he would not be involved in making a decision as to what contractor provides the service.
Captain Elam?
Yes. Captain Elam.
He would pick the cheapest bid. No, and now I don't know how that works out, but I know he is in charge of building maintenance and what happens.
So Captain Elam approached you about this particular work?
I actually approached him asking about I approached him about 3 months ago asking. I just started the business about a year and a half ago and asked him if there was anything I could do for the Lexington Fire Department, and he named off a bunch of jobs to me that potentially could be done.
And he pointed out this particular work as a possibility and then asked you to get an opinion from this commission as to whether it would be permissible for you to do it. Is that what happened?
Yes, exactly. And then he asked if it was permissible, and then there's a couple of other guys on the job that have done the same thing that I'm talking to you about, that work in the garage and have the same type of correlation with work and their side business or whatever. And they said, this is the course of actions I need to take to make sure this is the right way to approach it.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Has Captain Elam given you the cheapest price that he paid last time?
No, I don't know what price. I have no idea on pricing or anything of what he got bids for the last tree job.
Any further questions from the commission?
No, sir.
I will entertain a motion to go into closed session so we may, as a commission, discuss this request for an ethics opinion.
I move to go into closed session pursuant to KRS 61.810(1)F and KRS 61.810(1)J as discussion of AO 2025-003. Oh, you already had it printed out? You're so smart. May lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an employee, member, or officer and contains the deliberations of a quasi-judicial body regarding individual adjudications.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go into closed session. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We're in closed session. So I'll entertain a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We got multiple seconds. All in favor of coming out of closed session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now officially out of closed session. Do I have a motion with respect to advisory opinion request 2025-003?
So I move that the commission indicate to Mr. Ward that based on a previous opinion of the commission in its interpretation of the Ethics Act, employees are not permitted to provide services to the division in which they are employed, other than the services they provide as an employee for LFUCG.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second? We have a second from Christine. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Ward, the law department will be drafting an opinion for you based on that will be voted on probably at our next meeting, if not before, by email to be sent to you. And one thing that opinion is going to likely have is, as Mr. Blake indicated, that the issue is with respect to contracting with your own division. There are opportunities that you can bid on work for other groups within LFUCG, and the opinion will likely address what type of limitations under the Ethics Act would be appropriate for those. Very good, sir. Appreciate your time and thank you for your service. Welcome. So next on the agenda is consideration of some complaints and decisions thereon. I will recuse myself as I recused myself from the underlying hearings. So I pass the chair position on to David.
So given that the dismissal orders were in your packet for you to review, I would entertain a motion to approve all the dismissal orders for the complaints indicated in the packet.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
David, I'll, before you leave, I'll have you sign all of them.
Okay. That's been the least of it, trust me.
That was quick, David.
Yeah.
Boom. That's something to keep in mind. So the next item on our agenda, I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is to look at issues related to amending the Ethics Act and discussions thereof. David, I think you were the one that did red line, is that correct?
No, not this one. I think Evan did the red line on this one. Yeah, this one.
Also, apologies that it's printed in black and white. We don't have a color printer.
Okay. And I know David also had submitted some, so this I would think is like the first part of the discussion of amending the Ethics Act. And one question I have for the law department is, just in general, beyond this, is there a way consistent with the Open Meetings Act for there to be a subcommittee of the commission to sit down and take these ideas, David's ideas, and any other ideas, and sort of do a unified proposed amendment that the commission itself can then take and vote on, and then present that to city council?
Yes, the chair can create a subcommittee if he so chooses for those who are interested. It'd probably be a better idea to, you can create that, you can check to see in this meeting, see if anybody's interested, and then we schedule a special meeting for that first meeting, and then have a meeting agenda at that special meeting for the subcommittee. And then we wouldn't have to special meeting notice it the rest of the time. So, I think that is something you can do, so, yeah.
I personally think that that would be worthwhile, efficient, etc. Do we have commission members that would like to pursue that path?
Since I've already suggested some changes, so I would be willing to work on that.
Okay. Delora, would you be interested in being on that? David, I know would. I'd be happy to. Anybody else? So as I understand the process, that we would take this subcommittee of 3. We would notice a special meeting that would be broadcast. We'd set out an agenda for that one, and then have that be a working group, if you will, to thereafter be able to meet the 3 of us. Jefferson, Adams, Benjamin Franklin, come forth with then the proposal.
And usually then
Whichever one you want.
the subcommittee would, at the end of it, vote as a subcommittee to recommend to the Ethics Commission, and then that would be on your agenda for the next Ethics Commission meeting, and then the Ethics Commission would take a vote, and then to recommend it to the council, which then would probably be would be put onto the council work session docket, and the council could either put it in committee or vote to move it to a council meeting at that point.
So as I understand it, we're taking these proposed changes and directing them to this subcommittee to work on, to make any changes, adjustments, and then to come back to the full committee. So we're not going to discuss this tonight. We're going to move on.
I would be happy to discuss it tonight. I think it's part of the bigger picture.
Sure. Well, the reason I asked, I only had one question about the material here, if I could just ask
Certainly.
Evan about it.
Certainly.
And it's actually the very first item of the changes that you prepared, the definition of agency. And the amendment would be to include any board or commission which by ordinance is subject to the Ethics Act would be included in the definition of an agency.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for a fact that there are some commissions and citizens boards that are subject to the Code of Ethics, but not the Ethics Act.
Yeah.
And
And
that has always kind of struck me as somewhat peculiar, because the Ethics Act is clearly sufficient to satisfy state law as to what we need to have an ethic. The Code of Ethics, I don't think is. So I'm wondering whether we need to address the fact that all citizens boards and commissions need to be subject to the Ethics Act in addition to anything else they're subject to.
That could be a recommendation as well, as to all those instances where it says Code of Ethics changed to Ethics Act. Okay. But there are a few boards that do specifically say Ethics Act, and so that's that's the reason for that change. Is for instance, the Administrative Hearing Board that we just heard, that was specifically provided in another ordinance that says that they're subject to the Ethics Act, and so this wraps it all into it. So because it was leading to a strange outcome where it says it is, but then you look on here in the Ethics Act, and they're not actually. There's no grouping for them, so this adds the grouping for them.
Well, and I think what you can do is when it's being presented to the City Council, LFUCG Council, is to set out these are the organizations that, as we currently have, or not the boards, the commissions that currently are under the Ethics Act, and these are the ones that are not. And we don't understand what the difference is, and one of the problems is we have seen people file complaints that clearly aren't in our jurisdiction, not because it's not an issue that we think has ethical implications, but we look at which boards and commissions we have authority over and which ones we don't. And it's hard to it's very hard and alarming to have to explain to a requester. We realize we understand your concern. We feel for you, but we have no power, even though we're the ethics commission, because they think, oh, you're the ethics commission.
Yeah, so we did have that case that I still haven't gotten over, so it's,
So I think it would be the timing would be good
yeah,
and persuasive to hit both at the same time.
right, good, right.
Laura.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is I don't think it makes a lot of sense to piecemeal changes back to council. I think if we're doing it, let's do a full overview so we don't
Right.
things that don't
Right.
match up or
Right.
consistency.
Exactly.
More than we can afford.
Exactly.
Can these
Just
oh,
a couple to, not that we're voting on tonight, but just to have folks look at the bottom of page 38 and bottom of page 39, the sections that we're talking about, qualified adult needs a personhood. And then, so at the very bottom of section D, 13D, so number 6, references a combination of the items set forth in paragraphs A through E of this subsection, and then in E, you also see number 5 says a combination of the items established in paragraph A through E. We were taking a look at that just because it would be strange to have a combination of items referenced underneath an individual subsection.
Combination of items would be strange to reference when section 13 requires an and across all of those subsections. So the proposal was to just actually delete 6 under section D, line 5 under section E, and move your and to line 4 in D, and move your or to line 3 in E. But super small change to some degree, and something the subcommittee could certainly just look at, but thought I'd point it out.
will the subcommittee meetings be luncheon meetings?
We can make them luncheon meetings.
Yeah, it can be whatever the subcommittee wants. It could be at any of those times.
Here is
And
an,
it could be via Zoom too.
well, and here's a question too. Would it be considered a meeting if we 3 set up a Google Docs and did like joint red lines back and forth?
I think that I would not recommend that for that reason.
This is why I ask. I ask permission and not forgiveness. Exactly. Any further discussion of this item? Thanks, everyone. I'm looking forward to working with you too on this. I think that it's time. It's time to look at the Ethics Act and make some changes, both procedurally and some substantive. Ethics tip line report.
I'd just like to apologize in advance. When they send these to us, they're password protected, so they have to be printed out after we get them and then rescanned. And every time I printed them, they were super, super, super tiny, and I messed with the thing a million times to try to get it the right size. So this is how it looks for now. Sorry. And there's no January report because they told me that there was no January report. So
Does anyone have any questions about the ethics tip line report?
As I always say, it's ethics tip line covers more than just ethical issues. So as you can see by these, there's incident types that are outside of Ethics Act. There's it's all over the board. So you're provided this because the ordinance requires you to be. So you usually review to see if there's any of them that are potentially ethically related, and then I can, if you have any questions, I can go and check with them and report back.
Were there any, Evan, that you spotted that we would be curious about?
Not that I noticed. Not that I noticed.
Any questions of the law department with respect to the ethics tip line report?
None.
Here.
That's what I think, but that's not what we were given.
I feel like we need that report. That just says 0 on it. That just seems a little strange.
Yeah. If Mackenzie hasn't checked already, I can check with internal audit.
Yeah, it just seems strange.
Okay, she did, so we're good.
I emailed Chris and
I was like, can we have the ones from November to now? And he said, here they all are. There's no January one. And Abby and I were both like, what? So this is what we have.
So before we go on to the next item in the agenda, I do want to revisit the discussion of amending the Ethics Act, because I was reminded by Evan that we talked about a subcommittee among Delora, David, and me. We failed to
Have a motion.
have a motion.
I move that we, Mr. Chairman, I move that we form a subcommittee to review possible changes to the Ethics Act and to our procedures in handling complaints of misconduct.
And the members of that.
It will be the chair, Delora Hughes and David Blake.
Very good. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Multiple seconds. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And I again say that I'll look forward to working with Delora and David on that.
On the ethics tip line thing, just a quick question. It looks like we have the January activity report, but it's dated January 2nd, so there's no underlying January report reflected. It looks like what we're missing is the February activity report that would include the January tip line report. So if we can, again, I know we've already done it, again, request. Yeah. Bust some heads.
So the final item on the agenda, the financial interest statements update.
Sorry, can I ask a quick question before we move on? Who's responsible for ensuring that these are dealt with, for lack of a better term, if everybody's like self-reporting, if that pertains to them? Like, what if none of these recipients are like, oh, that doesn't pertain to me? Then could some of these go on, unaddressed, basically?
So if you look at each incident report, like the ones that say, for instance, closed during the month of, it has a division department, the date it's closed, and the outcome. So basically, it's investigated by and there's also the case manager category. It's investigated by the case manager, and then determined. Then the outcome is provided in the in that category. So basically, it's investigated by the divisions that are provided in the tip line, and the entities that are involved in that could always take a look and say hey, what's this, or hey, I'm interested in figuring something out about that, and go that route. Obviously, the Ethics Commission's jurisdiction is exclusively in the Ethics Act, so. If there's something that says customer relation or, unfair employment practice, that's probably largely outside of the Ethics Commission's. But it's not for stuff like people like human resources or potentially the Chief Administrative Officer's office. So.
Awesome, thank you.
So any other questions about the tip line? Trace, good question. Thank you. On to the financial interest statements update. First of all, even before we get this, have each of the commission members submitted their financial information? I've got one on the table right now.
We've got a few of you, but it's okay. I know
Okay.
I know how to get a hold of you. I have to check, but I think you. I'll check and I'll email you if I.
I will tell you, I submitted mine on either April
Yes, you
14th or
did.
15th, one of the two. I remember it was just under the deadline.
Carrie, I think you were the first person to turn. Yeah,
I come over that day, but right now I don't recall. So check.
I will.
Make sure.
I'll check all of you. Yeah.
Oh, I get confused because I sit on two commissions, and the time to file these is different for each commission. Or maybe I'm just like filing one really late, but I have to do two. Do you know what I mean? Like,
No.
cannot
I
one
don't.
serve
it
the
not a unified?
purpose
Yeah.
for both?
Is it not a unified?
What other commission are you on?
The Rule and Management Board. And I have to do the same thing for them, but I'm like, but I submitted one for the Ethics Commission, and they're like, okay, but we need another one, and I'm just like, that's
So,
why I like have
we-
7. I swear you guys have 7 of these from me.
We don't have like the Rural Land Management Board doesn't come to us. I don't have anybody else who submits one to me from the Rural Land Management Board.
Can I copy it? And
Yeah.
like, send it to you?
Send it to me, but it might be, I don't know if it's different or what, or
It
Do
looks
they-
the
do they
same.
have an internal rule for reviewing? these
maybe. We only do like, I mean, and I have to look this up right now because it's I think the only people that have to do one who are on a commission or a board are like Board of Adjustment, Ethics Commission, and Planning Commission.
It's the ones in the ordinance. It's the ones in the ordinance.
Yeah, I can't remember which ones those are off the top of my head, but
And I don't mind to do 2. I just get I mean, it's the reason why I'm confused.
And it sounds like it goes back to the issue of two different sets of organizations running two parallel paths that we need to bring as from an efficiency standpoint together.
yes, that's very bizarre. I'll look into that for you, Christine, because I don't know about that.
And I think for the Rural Land Management Board, they asked us to do that because we deal with property, and the values of property, and whether we own property in Lexington and how this would affect our values. So I can see why they would want all the members to have some sort of interest statement to make sure that we're not playing with the property that belongs to us, or maybe it does, whatever. But if you could just check on that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, so everybody remembers, it's the, Mackenzie was right, it's the Board of Adjustment. It's also a Comprehensive Plan Update Committee, which I'm not sure is active, Ethics Commission and Planning Commission, as well as various elected officers and various commissioners or division directors.
So Mackenzie, would you like to give us an update on where we stand currently?
Yes, so it says we're missing 37 out of 130, but we're actually missing like now 35, and one got turned in without a signature, so 35 and a half. Sorry. We sorry, we do have one filer who I don't know how we're going to track her down. I think I mentioned her last time. She's retired. Her forwarding address does not get to her. Like her address that she has listed in all of her stuff for when she worked here is not her current address. She's in the wind. I think she's in Florida, essentially. So I'm not really sure how to get a hold of her. I don't know if anybody around the building might know. It's Aldona.
Yeah, I think we can figure that out.
Okay.
Well, and did she submit one last year? Okay. Maybe at the next meeting. Well, first of all, if the law department can assist in that regard, that would be helpful. And we'll just wait and see on that one. And in the meantime, I think that previously we had discussed about going ahead and letting Mackenzie and others know what our comfort level and deadlines, et cetera, to give them authorization to proceed with sending out reminders, taking steps, et cetera. And Mackenzie, I take it that this is part of the proposal that you've laid out in here?
Yeah, I just drew something up that I thought sounded pretty reasonable. Sending one out now just to be like, hey, April 15th just passed, just so you know, this has to be turned in. And then one in July that's saying that, hey, there's a meeting coming up. If you want to get it turned in, that'd be a good time to, do it. And then this will be between meetings, but if you could prove it now, it'll be easier. But basically a letter, an order to appear saying that if you don't, or we can, do this at the August meeting, but if you do not turn in your financial interest statement before the November meeting, at the November meeting, you will be ordered to appear to explain why you have not turned in your financial interest statement. And then at that November meeting, they will do that.
And when does my term end?
I believe October.
So my last, if this is approved, if this is approved by the commission, and I think it wise to go ahead and set out authorization for McKinsey and others to proceed along these lines, my last official act may be signing these orders to appear.
Unless you carry over until your position is filled by the administration.
But I don't have to be chair.
That's true.
I'm done. I'm a lame duck.
You can wait. You can if you wait a year, you can reapply.
That is a voluntary thing, right?
No, it's mandatory.
Yes, it's voluntary.
We'll let you know after we rewrite the.
Yes, I am not an Article 3 judge. I do not have lifetime appointment.
Yes, duty of citizenship. You have to reapply.
Yeah. So all that aside, first of all, do we have a motion on the floor to authorize McKinsey and others to follow this proposed chain of events to send out these letters, et cetera?
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Last item, again, it's not really an order of business, but I'm serious that, my term ends in October. So next meeting will be my last meeting. It has truly been a pleasure working with you and the previous commissioners. But I do think that individually or collectively, you need to be thinking now who will take over being chair. We used to have a vice chair. We don't now. We've had some stand-in chairs, and I thank you, David and Carrie, for that. But do be thinking first yourself, and then among the rest of the commission, who should be chair.
Does anyone want to self-nominate for that? Because that would make it easy.
Well, and that's what I said. You think about it. I mean, we've got time. We've got another meeting that I will still be chair, but do be thinking about it. And I'd be happy to talk with anybody about what it's like being the chair, as long as that doesn't violate the Open Meetings Act.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, good. See, I'm asking permission and not forgiveness. Okay, great seeing you guys. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Again, great seeing you all in person. I love that spring is here. I love that my time as chair is coming to a conclusion soon. But it's a pleasure working with you guys. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you all.